Welcome to the Eclectic Gamers Podcast. Today is Sunday, June 13th. This is episode 143. I am Tony.
I'm Dennis, and we've got some stuff to cover, and E3 is underway.
So it's weird. Normally E3 is like a during the week thing, but
But these are strange times. We're not in the end times anymore. We're in the post-end times. But because of that, we're going to knock this one out pretty quick because we got EA, Microsoft, and Bethesda coming up here. And so we only have we have about an hour window, actually. So we should have plenty of time to get through it. But
should be.
But that does not mean we skip out doing on intros. So what's going on, Tony? You're still playing Final Fantasy?
I'm playing Final Fantasy. I've been joined by a few of our friends online on my server. I have created an EGP link shell. So if anybody is on the data center is Primal, the server is Lamia, let me know. Drop your name or something in an email or on Facebook and wherever.
That's Eclectic Gamers Podcast at gmail.com.
There you go. And I can get you found out and a link shell sent. But I've been still having a lot of fun with it. I'm still in the easily distracted. I haven't tried any combat-related jobs other than I finally progressed far enough that I have the sub-jobs for Arcanist. So I've got Summoner and Scholar, which is basically DPS or healer with Pet. And I've played those, and I've played no other combat jobs. But I have almost every crafting job over 50. I don't even have combat over 50. I'm 42. But the only things I don't have over 50 is Alchemist, Cooking, and Fishing are all in the 20s. Armorer is 48, and Leatherworker is 49. So I should have those two over 50 pretty quick. But otherwise, that's basically what I've been doing. And lots of hunting my own stuff and then selling it. So, otherwise, that's the joys of my life lately. What have you been up to?
I have started Gears 5 for real. Like, now I've actually really started it, not like confused with Gears 4 started it. So.
Did you finish Gears 4 first?
I did.
And then started Gears 5, as is appropriate.
It is. So I am somewhere in Act 2. Okay. Pretty early in Act 2, I think chapter 2 of it. I don't know. I played a couple days ago and died, but I'm still clearly in the chapter I got into. I know there was a somewhat like 5 or 7 minute section that I'll have to redo because I screwed up. And then other than that, I will note that I had been working on a project with a group, Literarily Wasted, is what they're called. There's a book club, online book club. And they wanted to write a book, a choose your own adventure style book. So that's actually out now in a limited edition hard copy, but July 1st is when the Kindle version is released. So I'll have a link in the show notes if anyone wants. It's 99 cents.
Yeah.
It's an adult oriented, like it's got substance use and stuff in it. Choose your own adventure.
It's a choose your own adventure porno.
Yeah, well, that might be Take a Shot Stories number 2. This is Take a Shot Stories number 1, Beach Trip Beware.
Sounds like the normal theme anyway.
Yeah. And that reminded me. So I went and checked because I thought I had an email, but I was so busy with the pandemic stuff, I didn't pay too much attention. I had a publisher or an editor contact me months ago about rerunning one of my stories that she had on her vampire website, your Sparkly Vampire
website.
Yes. So she's actually pushed out, I think, 3 collections of stories. So and one of mine that she ran years and years ago is in one of those. So that's called Fankers Inc., an anthology of vampire stories. I think that's $2.99 in Kindle. So I've got a link there in the show notes as well if anyone wants to buy those, with full disclosures that there may be financial benefit to me if you buy these. I have to phrase it that hedge-like because honestly, I don't remember what my contracts say. So there might be a benefit if there are enough sales on either book. I don't recall anything that's actually going to get me paid. So,
I just signed. They go, here, we need you to sign this contract.
She paid me for the story years ago. And short stories, like money was always really, you were lucky. You were like,
here's $2.
Yeah. If you got like $10, it was like, holy cow, rolling big. And I don't think they pay much better now than they did in the early 2000s. But anyway, those are out there because I don't really write fiction much anymore. So speaking of writing, we had a couple people write into us, and I'm going to jump us now into the pinball segment because both of the emails are related to pinball. Not too surprising.
Not a surprise at all.
So, I got a couple pinball topics that we'll do after this, but all right. So the first email, a listener wrote in, asked to remain anonymous, but wanted to contribute some thoughts on the distributor discussion that we had 2 shows ago. And we also had the email from another listener that we discussed on the last episode about, the value of having a distributor in pinball. So this is the relevant part of the anonymous email that came in that we're going to talk about, or I'm going to read out for this episode. I think it will fade with time as well. I'm only speaking from my experience, but the main benefit of the current model for the game purchaser is the dealer is supposed to be a mediator and advocate for the purchaser. In reality, this doesn't seem to be the case. I got an early JP Jurassic Park Pro and had quite a bit of issues with my clear coat. I ordered from a very popular dealer and never felt like they were in my side with the situation. They just told me to document the problem and never did anything as the problem progressed. I ended up getting a playfield from them almost a year later, and only because I was pretty public about my issues in a consistent email every 2 weeks. Some other reasons I believe the distributor model is unneeded are that Stern already drop-shipped games. They could still sell at the current MSRP and use the money to hire more staff to handle the increased responsibilities and more consistent brand marketing with only one source of information. I hope my points come across in a constructive criticism instead of a distributor bashing, that I believe the model needs to go away or at the very least reworked. So, another perspective. So I just wanted to get that.
Always acceptable.
Yep. So I wanted to get that out there to all the listeners. I feel like this is becoming like a pen pal topic where we spent like 2 minutes on it.
I know, for such a tiny little throw-in, not a big deal thing that we thought at the time, it's quickly become maybe we should have done.
Maybe because, we read the one email the last time that was more on the sort of pro distributor side versus the tone of our original discussion. And we had 2 messages in that same time. They weren't things to read out to the audience, but that were clearly, we like what you said on the original one, like good coverage sort of thing. And then, it's apparently people find this one more interesting than we thought they would.
Yeah.
So, maybe at some point we go in deeper, but without having like a distributor on, it would be, I think, challenging to really, because we don't know enough about the business in my view too. We can, of course, our angle was always just coming at it from like a manufacturer perspective.
Right.
But we don't work for them either. So what do we know? I don't know. We're just professional podcasters.
That's what we do.
Making the big bucks.
We cast the pods. We see what's going on.
We do. Now, we got another email, not related to distribution. Chris C. emailed regarding our deep root discussion we had on the last episode. More specifically, this is about kind of where I had mentioned not seeing a lot of defenders of deep root in the Pinside thread I've been reading. So Chris wrote and said, there's a separate Raza, quote, owners, and then parenthetically he says depositors, thread. I would suspect any defenders are there and have abandoned the cesspool of the original DR thread.
I wondered about that.
Continuing his email, the original thread has devolved into haikus of this is true. It has devolved into haikus of DR's ineptitude, with the occasional Ben Heck drunk or on DR and or J-pop. The thread is clearly in the end game of DR hating and are just grinding for unique mats for dank DR related meme sets at this point. I would like to invite anyone with the dankest of memes to go ahead and in our show notes, we always have a link to the EGP Discord, and we do have a section for dank memes.
We do have a dank memes section.
So we would welcome DR dank memes or any memes.
Well, yeah. I just recently posted that wonderful Queen meme.
You did. Yeah. I mean, now, to be fair, Gaming on 10's Discord has like the most active meme game of any of the Discords I am in.
Yes.
But we are number 2.
I read it. Of the ones I'm in, we're like number
of the ones
47.
I'm in, we're number 2. Okay. The ones I'm in.
So how many Discords do you actively follow?
I'm on like 6.
Yeah. I'm on about 10. I'm not super active in very many of them, and like 3 of them are. It's weird. The meme section of Discords that are set specifically around historical YouTubers who talk about historical stuff.
Mm-hmm.
The meme sections are weird.
Huh.
You've seen some of them because I've posted.
Yeah,
I've sent you some of them that are just like crazy. It's hilarious though. But back onto pinball.
All right. So next topic, original topic, new topic, number 1 of 2 for
Number
today.
1.
Just another quick one. And I mistyped it in my internal show notes. Multimorphic is teasing a licensed theme.
Oh.
And they have announced that Scott Danesi is on for music. Now, Scott Danesi is known for designing both for Spooky, Rick and Morty, and he did the music for that as well. And then Total Nuclear Annihilation, which, other than art, he did basically everything for. So, now he's not designing this game, but he's doing the musical package for it. People have been all over the place trying to guess what this licensed theme might be. It could be, it's too open. I think it's too open to make any guess. I mean, Multimorphic they've never done a license before, so there's no, like, thematic direction we can really run with them. If I were to speculate, it would be, given Scott favors electronica and EDM style music, that a video game license would give them the most options that would play to his preferred genre of music. But again, he did the sounds for Rick and Morty. I don't think he has to be confined to that kind of thumping EDM TNA style soundtrack. So given that, it's too hard to guess. It's just with the screen and everything. Gaming, like games, seems to be something I really think.
Makes sense.
It's a huge gap in the market.
And, I mean, the a-hole in me wants it to be gummies. But.
No, the a-hole in me wants it to be Back to the Future. Just so we can shut up about it.
That would be so good.
Oh my gosh.
That would be so good. Oh, that'd be hilarious. I would like a company just to put out, just start putting out just trolling meme pinball machines. I know it's way too expensive to ever happen, but oh my god, it'd be hilarious. Somebody put out a Ghostbusters machine, but it's that crappy Ghostbusters cartoon, the one that Ghostbusters had called the real Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
Oh, that'd be so good.
I mean, we want to throw out other things hey, you want to sell a whole bunch of units? Harry Potter. There we go.
Yeah.
Get Harry Potter.
There you go.
Just play the movies on that huge screen in the playfield. Use the same module as Cannon Lagoon. Who cares? It's Harry Potter. You don't need it to actually be fun.
It's gonna happen. People are gonna buy it.
It's not about fun when it comes to Harry Potter. It's about being able to watch the movies sideways on the screen. You don't have to return their head because you want to get that widescreen perspective. So anyway, but I think it's exciting news for P3 because
it is.
As we've commented before. I mean, Heist from a gameplay perspective got a lot of really positive buzz, but no one got to try it last year because everything got shut down before the TPF where they were going to really showcase it.
Imagine how much better Heist would have done if it was the same layout and the same general idea, but it was Ocean's 11.
Well, exactly. So we have commented, I have over on the Pinball Show with Zach numerous times on that licenses to sell stuff.
It does.
I mean, even if they're just going to be short term from a vendor perspective, who cares? As long as you sold units, you made money.
Right.
So if they're flipping them on the back end, if it's not sticking and staying in the home,
it doesn't matter.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. It may not play to your main strategy that you're running, because Multimorphic clearly has a very different approach to everyone else because they're really relying on people bolting those to the floor and then constantly buying modules from them.
Right. But we've always said that their thing is they need a draw, and they haven't had a good draw.
But I think Scott is well loved by pinball fans, and especially for his music. I know people that weren't super keen, like on the Rick and Morty layout, but I haven't heard anyone criticize the sound package for it or TNA. So other than those that just like despise the sound genre, like they hate sound.
I play in total silence.
That's right.
I have to. That way I can
hear
the ball.
I want to hear the clunk.
I can hear the ball in the mechs. I need to be able to understand.
I need to hear the clunks. So good on Multimorphic. I think that's exciting news. And then other news, which is pretty interesting, maybe exciting, depending on your perspective. American Pinball. Okay, so they have an interview with, there's like three of them, like David Fix, Makesh, and Nirmal, I believe, are the three who were interviewed over with Pinball News and Pinball Magazine podcast. I have a link in the show notes to that podcast episode with the interview. And the interview is towards the front of the podcast. So I encourage people that want to know more to please go and listen to the interview. We are not going to recap the whole interview here because why would we just drop in another show's interview?
Yeah.
So,
I don't know. Why would somebody do that?
I don't know.
That's so just lowbrow.
Yeah. Especially when you literally drop in the entire audio of the interview.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's weird.
It is.
It seems like something a real special piece of work.
Like a bag with a D in front of it would do? Yeah, it does.
It does.
Interesting. Well,
Interesting.
who would have thought such things exist in pinball?
I know. I am personally shocked.
But what I am not shocked about is what has gone on here with American Pinball. So, American Pinball was sort of seen as a sister company, child company, some other related company to Aimtron.
Right.
Which exists and makes boards, like does electrical, like
PCBs,
printed circuit board. Yeah, PCB. Yeah. So, American Pinball is now owned by Aimtron, is now under Aimtron. They're still going to brand it as American Pinball, but now it's directly just a part of Aimtron. So that's a pretty big change up. In the interview, there are a couple of things of note that I want to touch on here and we could briefly discuss. One is, it was still pointed out they are planning starting this year, it seems, to do two game releases a year instead of this like game release every 12 to 18 months.
Sure. Okay.
But that these games coming out this year will not be licensed. The licensed stuff got started too late. It's going to be with Dennis Nordman's designs, which are going to start in 2022. And then also mention, per query, though there was no fixed date or game that I heard given in the interview, given Aimtron makes boards, they indicated that they are going to move away from the P3 Rock system of multimorphic.
Which makes sense.
Which does in this
case. But that
case.
hurts. That's a lot of people who dump the P3 Rock.
Yeah, I was going to say, my guess is it's just coincidence, but it's kind of weird to have, here in like just all at the start of this year, we've heard Spooky's dropping it, Haggis is dropping it, and now American Pinball is dropping it. And that leaves no major manufacturer.
Interesting. And with multimorphic just teasing a licensed theme, did they get found out in the licensing? Was there a licensing bid war for something? People get angry.
But surely it wouldn't have impacted all three of them.
Yeah, I wouldn't have thought so.
Well, all right, so like
it's
Haggis,
just weird.
I thought it's just coincidence. That's my guess. Here, and this is why. In an interview where Ben Heck talked about Spooky moving away, he made it clear in that their change was money. Like it'll be cheaper for them to do Pinheck 2.0 than to continue to buy boards from Multimorphic.
Yeah.
I don't know if Multimorphic did a price increase or anything along those lines. It may have just been it's cheaper to do our own boards.
Right.
American Pinball, with it being under Aimtron, I always thought it was weird. And in this interview, they point out the reason they went with P3 Rock in the first place was just, they brought in J-Pop initially and the whole fiasco with his version of Houdini, and they needed to get a game out ASAP. And so taking stuff off the shelf that was known to work made sense for them. And they just sort of stuck with that. But now, and again, we don't know when this transitions away.
Right.
And then with Haggis, they did 18 Celts machines they're not a major manufacturer. And with this decision to do these licenses under Planetary Pinball, the old Williams and Bally licenses, they're going in a completely, so I don't think they went for any licensing. That could have happened maybe with American Pinball.
Right.
But in the case of Haggis, I don't know why they're not going in-house. They're going over to the fast system, I believe. So, which I don't think has ever been used by a manufacturer before. So maybe there was just something that they thought would make that easier to do these 2.0 versions of Fathom and stuff. I don't know. I've not heard them comment on that. So I think it's just a weird coincidence, but that could mean it is now extra timely that Multimorphic is putting out a licensed game, because if this was helping keep all that afloat,
yeah,
I don't know if the homebrew's strong enough anymore with the cost of wood and everything as much as it is. I don't know how many people are homebrewing.
Oh man, it's so bad.
But I just don't think there's a huge homebrew market.
I don't think it's big enough to support a company.
So anyway, but I think Multimorphics positions itself pretty well on its P3 with I mean, we'll have to see. Depends on what the license is, and depending on the strength of the license.
Jones's Diary.
Well, I was going to say, depending on the strength of like if it's not like a license that's a take my money now sort of license, it could still help.
It's the Beauty and the Beast TV show from the 80s.
Oh,
and they got Ron Perlman back. There we go.
You know what? It would be hard to resist.
You'd have to buy one. You'd almost be required to.
Almost. But the I really like his character in Enemy at the Gates, actually.
Oh,
Sniper.
yeah. You know, that'd be fun. Just a Ron Perlman machine. It's just him. It's just quotes from him from different movies that he's in.
I said, "Back off, darkness." Maybe we don't put that one in. But my theory with licenses is the weaker the license, the stronger your layout and rules have to be.
Right.
So if you've got a super awesome license, like again, if it's Harry Potter, it can be straight up fan layout, hit every shot 3 times to activate something, total dog of a rule set, doesn't matter. Harry Potter will just move.
Yeah.
Because people have no class in this hobby when it comes to Harry Potter. But if it's
the heist layout rules and just plug it on top of all the imagery from the new Army of the Dead. It's a zombie heist.
But no, you had a great example. You had a great example. If you had done Ocean's 11 instead of heist, you still would have needed a decent layout.
Right.
Ocean's 11 is just not strong enough to sell a lot of games by itself.
Right.
People watching Julia Roberts and George Clooney and Brad Pitt getting a Hollywood-funded vacation is not that fun. It's fun. It's not that fun.
Gone in 60 seconds. The pinball machine.
So, any thoughts on the 2 releases a year part for American? Back on American.
I'll believe it when I see it.
Same. I mean,
it's the same thing I say with anybody who is not Stern who wants to release more than one machine in a year. Show me.
Yeah, and where's the first one? I mean, they were talking in the interview like one of these is in the fall, so I'm guessing at like Expo. So that's October, which means
yeah, it's almost
we're
July.
mid-June. We're mid-June already. It's a little late if you're planning to do another one.
Unless
like a really limited run or something,
right? Or it could be one of those Christmas present drops where they drop it right at the end of the year just to slip it in, kind of like at the movies where they'll release that Oscar bait movie.
Well, I thought the thing is, I thought one of them had said something about here in the spring. What's
here in the spring?
I mean, technically, seasonally, we are still in spring, but no one thinks we're in spring.
No.
I don't know.
It's like 100 degrees outside.
Yeah.
It ain't spring.
Well, that's it for Pinball. Let's go ahead. Now, video games is an exciting time. As we noted, we're recording this while E3 stuff is happening. We had E3 stuff happen yesterday, which I watched 3 different presentations. You have a lot of summary stuff.
Just summary stuff. The only one I watched not at high speed was Devolver because you have to.
Yeah. And so the 3 that I saw yesterday were Ubisoft, which was the one with the most game content.
Right.
Devolver, because it's Devolver. And then Gearbox. And Gearbox had less game stuff than Devolver did.
Yeah.
So I don't have anything positive to say about Gearbox. It felt like they spent half their presentation talking about the Borderlands movie they're working on, and it to me reeked of, hey, look, I'm a studio owner. Here's me because I need to be the star, trying to show that I'm rubbing elbows with these Hollywood elites. It was really tacky.
Borderlands 3 is crap. I've played it. It's nowhere near. It doesn't have the same charm or enjoyment.
Okay, I only played the first 2
of Borderlands 2. It doesn't have the same enjoyment. It hasn't been nearly as popular, and they don't really have anything else.
Yeah. The other weird thing, here we are talking about, we don't really have it in the show notes. So the other weird thing was during the presentation, like they're doing a Homeworld remastered. They didn't just sit there and show it. They kept like interspersing weird little clips of it all throughout. So I was like, why are you still talking about Homeworld? Why are we back to, why don't you just sit there for 5 minutes and tell us about Homeworld? What?
I mean, there's supposed to be a new, Homeworld 3 is being worked on, supposedly. But, I mean, I love the Homeworld games. Mm-hmm. I own Homeworld Remastered. I played Homeworld Remastered. I played the original Homeworld. I played Homeworld 2. But
We'll
see. It's one of those things that I'd like it, but we'll see what actually happens.
And for Devolver, it's not a long presentation. Devolver does kind of like a storyline thing with their E3 presentations. So,
it's just cracking.
And they usually are poking their finger in the eye of some bad habit that the gaming industry is doing. So I would just encourage people to just go and watch it.
Yeah. I would do the same.
So, Ubisoft.
So, we're going to open with Ubisoft. They dropped a trailer for Avatar Frontiers of Pandora. Announced in 2017.
I know there's supposed to be more Avatar movies coming out, but if gaming has taught me anything, it's to be skeptical of all movie-based tie-in games.
Yeah.
And I was just like, it looked pretty.
It looked pretty, but...
It was pretty.
But was it really... I mean, here's the thing. It's being developed by Massive Entertainment. They did The Division.
Okay. I never played it.
They've got... But it's a first-person open-world action-adventure game.
I mean...
Okay.
Yeah.
So basically, it's blue penis head alien Far Cry. Okay.
I mean, I would really only be interested if they will, and I think I might have verbalized this when I was seeing it going on. I was like, Avatar, really? I guess I'll play it if they'll let me destroy their planet mining for unobtainium. That's about it. I want to strip mine that place.
Yeah.
I think it would be an interesting, different just approach.
Yeah.
And then it's a resource gatherer, and then I could turn it into tower defense or something. I don't know. Stay away from my strip mining. Let me ruin your world.
I want to take that game and have somebody mod it and reskin it so that it's moved to the 40K universe and just watch it. Okay, Daka. And just, yeah, there we go. All the funds. Ubisoft also had Mario and Rabbids.
Yeah, the Sparks of Hope.
The Mario Rabbids game, I enjoyed.
Did you finish it?
I did.
See, I talked to someone else who I asked them, "Are you getting this?" And they said, "I didn't finish the last one."
Yeah, I didn't finish the last one. It was fun while I played it. I played a lot of it originally, but part of the thing is I've not touched my Switch. I don't have a Switch. My wife refers to it as her Switch now. She has modded it. It is different colors. It has all these special gel cap fancy things on it. I don't have a Switch anymore, and it's cool because I wasn't playing it. I got the Switch just like I got the PS4, and I haven't played the PS4 in...
You got it for Spider-Man, and you played Spider-Man.
I did. And I played a few other games, but and the thing is, the way everything's moved is pretty much all the games that I wanted to play on console, I can play on PC. So I'll just play them on PC.
Right.
So
I understand.
That's what that is. They did have a big issue, Ubisoft did, with leaks just before the stuff started. Rabbids was leaked. The Far Cry DLC was leaked. So that's not good. Except for it was only a few hours before, so who cares? Far Cry DLC is interesting because it's going to let you play as the villains from older Far Cry games.
Yeah. They really, in the presentation, highlighted, and it's it was a fair thing to highlight. Far Cry at this stage, really since Far Cry 3, has been known for having like these over-the-top quality villains. And so now that's what Far Cry has become is, hey, here's this action game. The mechanics are always the same in all of them, basically. But there's going to be, you're going to go to watch these villains chew scenery.
Yeah. It's like every Far Cry villain, if it was a movie, is going to be played by Jeremy Irons.
Yeah. Dungeons and Dragons, total scene chewing. Like, I got to earn this paycheck. I know it's schlock that I earn. And I never played Far Cry 3, but I played 4 and 5, and their villains were very over the top. And I enjoy those games. So that's something that the new Far Cry with, what's the actor's name? Darksaber dude from Mandalorian.
Giancarlo?
From Breaking. I mean, that's who it looked like to me in the video. I'm assuming that's who mocapped it.
Probably.
It looked like his face.
Yeah.
So I'm like, they're totally Darksaber in it, and he can choose scenery because he does the Mandalorian.
He does it so good.
So I'm like,
so
okay,
good.
okay, so yeah, make it all about the villain.
Yeah, no, I'm fine with that.
So that might the Far Cry stuff might be something I end up getting. I usually do when they're on sale.
Yeah, well, you get pretty much everything when they're on sale, which I understand. Because my notes just jump around here a bunch. Devolver show it's Devolver. It was just an insane show to watch. I mean, say what you will about their games. Some people love their games. Some people hate their games. I own several of their games. I don't know if I've ever actually beaten any of them.
Yeah, I think they're mostly just a publisher, the 4 indies. So the game style varies a lot, but like, other than maybe there's kind of a weirdness to them, generally I don't really think they fit in a genre.
They don't. I buy their stuff mainly because I like to support them because some of the stuff they do, like their videos, makes me laugh enough. That's like, I can buy one of your games. That makes it worthwhile. I saw announcements about Elden Ring.
I don't know anything about that.
It's the new game it's a collaboration with George R.R. Martin because he's got to find something to do other than finishing his novels that he doesn't know how to finish. And From Software and Hidetaka Miyazaki from
Souls games.
It's basically a Souls game with a story written by George R.R. Martin. So hey, people seem super excited about it. It's due out in January of next year, but I mean, I don't care.
The aesthetic has been awesome in those games, but like I don't know if I can. I don't even know. I thought it would. I don't know why I tricked myself into thinking Sekiro would be different, and it is, but it isn't. It's just
right. And I think
it's just too hard. It's just too hard for me, I guess. I'm just too weak at this point. It took a lot for me to finish Dark Souls, and I did, and I felt I proved myself with that, and I don't need to prove myself anymore.
Yeah, it very much falls into the get good noob category of games.
Yeah,
and
okay.
I'm not going to get good. It's not my style.
And it's like, I don't know. I'm more tolerant of that in a platformer than I am in a hack and slash. I don't know. And that's always been the case for me.
Yeah.
So, okay, well, a lot of people like it.
There's an expansion for Watch Dogs Legion coming out, which I've heard nothing but good things about Watch Dogs Legion.
Yeah, I played the first Watch Dogs, and I know that one's the worst.
It is. The second one was a lot better.
So
I really enjoyed the second.
But I've never because of that, I've never had an interest in going back to that world.
Right. Though, interestingly enough, it's the expansion is due out in like 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and it's a prequel. It follows the character from one of the previous games as they go to London like before Legions actually starts.
Okay.
So it's interesting. Rainbow Six Siege announced they're getting crossplay. It'll be on PC, Stadia, and Luna by the end of the month.
What is Luna? I've never heard of it.
It's Amazon's version of Stadia. So Stadia, which is a perfectly valid game system and is very enjoyable, as I've gotten multiple emails and messages about, and it's the future of gaming, allegedly. Mm-hmm. But Luna is their version.
Allow me. All 4 of you will now have the opportunity to cross-play with, a large player base.
Yes. Basically, that's what it amounts to. And then they're supposed to be bringing in Xbox and PlayStation early next year.
I saw some other stuff about crossplay as well. So has PlayStation finally dropped all their walled garden stuff?
I think they've
because it feels like they did, but I missed the memo.
That's what it feels like. I think when they were finally broken down, they didn't make a huge deal out of it. It just happened.
Well, I thought kind of like after you did it with like Fortnite and stuff.
Yeah.
Who cares on Rainbow Six? I mean, Rainbow Six is a successful game for Ubisoft, but it's no Fortnite.
Right. No, I think it's just a thing that happens now.
Okay.
For my kids, they were very excited. Among Us is getting a hide and seek mode and a 5th map.
Okay.
Here's the thing. I've played Among Us. It's fine. I think it's a very fun game to watch the right people streaming. But the thing is I feel really happy for those developers who put that game out years ago and suddenly it went viral. And while it's not quite as huge as it was last fall, it's still huge for them. Good for those guys.
Well, yeah, that's nice.
That's like
it's the feel good stories.
Yeah.
Then warm our hearts.
2 Point Studio is following up 2 Point Hospital with 2 Point Campus, which is just.
I just hope someday they'll find a third point. That's my goal.
I haven't played 2 Point Hospital, but I've watched some people play it, and I've seen some of the. There is some hilarious stuff.
Did Mark Silk do voice work in 2 Point Hospital? That might be.
I think he did.
That might be the one that I've heard him mention. Huh.
Yeah, but I've seen some. There's some hilarious stuff in those games, so good for them. For some reason, Jurassic World Evolution is getting a sequel. I guess that game sold enough to have them put out another. It's basically zoo. It's like Dinosaur Zoo.
Yeah, Zoo Tycoon for
dinosaurs.
Yeah.
So, but not as good as the actual Zoo Tycoon.
Well, we know those animal behavior better because they're real,
right?
Like alive still.
Yeah,
I should say the dinosaurs aren't real. Controversy.
The most interesting thing, one of the more interesting announcements to me, Metal Slug Tactics. It is a Metal Slug themed game that is a grid-based tactical.
Oh, wow.
I kind of want it.
Well, you do like tactical games.
I love this.
You got a soft spot for it.
I do, but this turn-based tactical, kind of like a Final Fantasy Tactics, and all, and Metal Slug. It's so much fun. Yeah. I'm into it. All the big shows are starting here in just half an hour, and running. So next episode we'll have a lot of the big stuff. EA outside of E3 did announce the latest Battlefield game.
Yeah, I saw the trailer for that. I'm glad they're finally gone. I'm going to air quote. People can't see the air quotes. They've gone modern again. It's actually a little bit in the future, but I liked the one set in World War I, but the online is just even as creative as they got, giving you like all these stupid prototype weapons and stuff.
Yeah.
It was still it didn't feel like Battlefield because they didn't have the vehicles.
Right.
And then World War II is a lot better, but it's still like you don't have RPGs and stuff.
Yeah, you don't have the same level of...
No, but like I really like Bad Company 2, Battlefield 3, Battlefield 4, and this is getting more into that spirit, so I'm really looking forward to it. I don't know about what Weatherlution, as I'm going to start calling it. So now instead of Levolution with the buildings being dropped, now it's like, oh no, we're fighting in a tornado. Like, okay, guys.
There were some things.
Guys.
I like the fact that what liked is the wrong word. I found it interesting that the bad guys are people who no longer have countries. They're how did they put them? They're not expats, they're no-pats.
Huh, this sounds like a plot to a Falcon and a Soldier from the Winter Times that I saw recently.
It was weird. But it was also humorous that throughout the entire trailer, you see all these no-pats, these non-pats, they're fighting, but the only name you ever see clearly on a name tag is one of the non-pats has the name tag Espinosa. That's the only name tag in the entire trailer, and you see it like 5 times. Just in case you didn't know.
And no campaign for this game.
And no campaign, no battle royale. They are doing it's going to have a narrative that will open as they put out more stuff in the seasons of the multiplayer.
So I'm wondering if that's kind of like how Titanfall 1 did its narrative storytelling in the multiplayer. Which is okay. I mean, let me be fair. I am a huge fan and supporter of DICE's Battlefield series. Their campaigns have been terrible since the Bad Company campaigns. So I don't lament them dropping it because, quite frankly, it's been like, well, I'm not a Call of Duty multiplayer fan. Call of Duty's campaigns are a lot better than what Battlefield was turning out.
And they're also turning Battlefield into a hero shooter. They're kicking out specialists, named hero characters with their own traits and abilities that complement the existing class system.
And my understanding is they're making tweaks to how their class system is going to work in this as well. So it's no longer like going in as a recon and going in as a support.
Right.
But instead, you more choose the specs, and you can take any equipment you want in.
So
like you get perks, I guess.
Perks.
You choose the perks.
Is it going to be more like the card, kind of like the cards and hero system? I wonder, like from
the way it was explained to me was that it sounds like you can go in with any guns you want now. And then there'll be other things that determine the benefits that you confer to the rest of your squad. So you're still doing classes, but one of the big things was always like, if you wanted a light machine gun, you had to be the guy who carried and threw out the ammo packs. Like you couldn't throw out health packs as that guy in the old games. And if you wanted a sniper rifle, that meant your kit was such that you couldn't fight tanks.
Right.
So it was like, okay, well, if you want to fight tanks, you need to be an assault or you need to be an engineer. But then when you're an engineer, your gun choices were like garbage. So it's all really like people were choosing classes based off of the firearms they wanted, not the perks that would help their team. Like in theory, like in Battlefield 3, for example, you wanted a different like class person for every single one of your squad mates because that was the best way to get a synergy for all the perks. But no one did that.
Right, because nobody wanted to have the crack.
No, it's like, oh, we're getting overrun by tanks. Everyone switched to engineer. It's the only class with RPGs.
Right.
That's how it was.
So, the game is going to be the multiplayer on PC, PS5, and Xbox Series X/S. Gosh, I read that a lot today. Will support 128 players.
That is a lot. Ugh. I almost wonder that's going to be too overwhelming.
Well, I mean, there's going to be 100 snipers per team.
Exactly.
One medic. And everybody else have rockets.
And I'll be the only person at Point Echo claiming it.
Yeah.
Because everyone else is in the hills trying to snipe.
Now, PS4 and Xbox One will only support 64 players.
Understandable.
They've got 3 game modes coming out. The standard Conquest and Breakthrough game modes are being combined into one like game mode series title. There's going to be a new squad-based game mode called Hazard Zone, and a third one that'll be announced at the big EA event in July.
Sounds like they're still not doing Rush or emphasizing it, which is too bad. I miss Rush. It used to be really well balanced in the old days, but Conquest was always their main mode, which was my overall favorite one too.
So that sounds like that's what they're going to be mainly pushing. The game is due out in October, so
usual Battlefield time.
Pretty normal. And the last thing we have to cover here in video games, in this what's actually an amazingly short episode considering everything.
That's because we're being efficient.
Is Sonic creator Yuji Naka.
Gotta go fast.
Who came back and joined Square Enix and put out a new game called Balan Wonderworld. Has left Square Enix and in an interview said he's probably going to retire.
I haven't heard of Balan Wonderworld.
That's because it was that bad.
Wow.
It sold less than 2,100 copies in Japan.
Oh. Ouch.
In its opening week. It didn't even break the top 40 games in game sales its opening week anywhere. It flopped hard. And, you know, Square is all about games that flop hard lately.
Oh, no. Marvel!
But it was real bad. Because it launched in March, and Yuji Naka left Square at the end of April. And that was the big combination. We talked about this after the big Square event as a game that some people were looking forward to because it put Yuji back together with the composer for the original Sonic games. All the reviews of Balan Wonderworld is like, it's all the terrible stuff about 90s games.
Wow.
So.
There's one other game that I wanted to mention that wasn't in the list, and that back on Ubisoft. It was a little weird because they talked a bit about a Rainbow Six Siege and the crossplay, but they also have another Rainbow Six where you fight aliens. Did you remember seeing about that? It was.
I didn't watch their whole presentation.
They spent it was probably their longest presentation period. I forget the name of it, but it's something really
Rainbow
bad,
Six,
like
something.
Convergence or something. Something really still like the most stereotypical alien name stuff you could think of.
Is it Quarantine?
Might be. So the
Extraction.
There we go, Extraction. Thank you.
Rainbow Six Extraction.
Yeah, so named because if the aliens take down one of your operators, you have to go in and extract them so you can play with them again. It's kind of like taking some roguelike elements in the sense that it sounds like you build up. It's got a lot of the same operators as they call the classes in Siege. In this, you go along and you make progress and are building these characters up. my understanding is that progress can be lost, so hence the roguelike elements to it. If people are defeated while you're going further and further in these towers or however they're doing it, facilities, then it gets harder and harder as you go through, but you're getting better and better loot and stuff out of it. The aliens the stuff looks, it's PvE though. It's not like one group of people's playing as the aliens. So it's like a single player. Well, it's designed to be co-op.
Right.
But I don't know. It looks both super generic and like it's going along. It's like, here's this ability. I'm like, that's from Halo. Here's this other ability. That's from Battlefield. Here's this other ability. Well, that's clearly from Siege. Here's this ability. It's like, oh, whoa. And the stuff turns into the slime that looks like it's from that new version of Prey. You just like everything all blended together into this just like mediocrity. I don't know.
Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six XCOM.
They spent a lot of time on that, and then they spent a lot of their time on I don't remember the name of it. I'm going to call it SSX Jetpack. It's some like extreme sports thing, and it was showing like dirt biking and half pipe stuff, and then people in wingsuits with jets. I was like, it was sort of grounded, and then they threw jets. They threw jets on bikes too. I was like,
of course.
You can't just put jet engines on everything. Well, apparently in Ubisoft you can. They spent a ton of time on that, and I was just like, it just looked too fake. I don't know. Whatever. I don't.
It's
care.
like remember a couple years ago at E3 they had the big what was that game called? Summit?
Yeah, it was like Summit, except this had both winter and summer stuff. Yeah.
I actually played a demo of Summit. Or no, I didn't play a demo of it. I got it for free when I was as part of my PlayStation account thing. It was one of the free games offered.
Yeah. It
was terrible.
Oh, too bad.
I was hoping for like something more
like SSX Tricky.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it was very much not.
Yeah. This was all about like, here, wear stupid costumes and unlock all these more stupid costumes. And
so it's Fortnite Extreme Sports Edition.
Kinda. Yeah.
Frickin' Fortnite.
Less building, but more like taunts. I'm sure. Okay, well, that's the show. We'll have more E3 news on the next show when it's real stale.
When it's real stale, but they'll make that episode a lot longer.
Maybe. I don't know. We can talk really fast.
Yeah, we can. We actually push through stuff pretty quick.
Those that want to reach out to us, you can always email eclecticgamerspodcast@gmail.com or go to facebook.com/eclecticgamerspodcast.
We're available on Twitch, Twitter, and Instagram as eclectic_gamers.
And we'll be talking definitely about video games next time. Until then, my name is Dennis.
And I'm pretty sure we'll be talking about pinball also. I'm Tony.
Goodbye.
See ya.